Hey everybody, what's going on? John here. I just wanted to do this quick video to talk about Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, before I get into this spoiler review of this massive sequel from James Cameron, I just want to set the tone. So, I liked Avatar when it first came out. I think I only saw it once. I enjoyed it. I got the Blu-ray. I did the whole thing with the LCD TV back in the day and the Blu-ray, 4K, whatever. Loved it. And then it just kind of went away. And as there was talks about the sequel and stuff like that, I was like, man, I feel like the time passed on that. Like it was a thing. It was a big hit, the 3D aspect. And I really wasn't that excited about Avatar sequels. Even to the point of heading into the theater. Like, it was a friend of mine who asked me, like, hey, you want to come with us to go see the new Avatar? And I was like, all right, I guess so. So I wasn't that excited heading into it. I knew that I would be visually stunned. I was not blown away, or I was saying I was not surprised by that aspect of it. I knew Cameron was going to give us something visually we've never seen in a movie before. I knew that was going to happen, and it did. No question. I'll get into that in a minute. But I went in with very low expectations about caring about the characters or a story that would continue on from the first, because I didn't think the story was all that great from the first one, nor did I think the character building, relationship building, and that sort of thing was all that great. I think what people remember most from Avatar is that it just set the bar for visual effects in movies. So with that said, as someone who's heading in not expecting greatness from just a movie storytelling perspective, I was very surprised, because I'll just say it out of the gate. Avatar: The Way of Water is better than the first Avatar in every way possible. You know, and let me get to just any of the negatives I have first, because overall it's positive for me. This review is going to be positive, but just some of the negatives. I still prefer the human version of Stephen Lang's character, Miles Quaritch. I think I just liked his performance better seeing an organic human, and it helps clean the palette a bit from when you see the Na'vi to seeing humans, and there were a lot less humans on screen in this movie, especially main characters. There were none really. While I liked the return of Colonel Quaritch in that sort of program memory loaded Avatar version of the Colonel, I thought it was really good. Stephen Lang did a great job with the voice and stuff like that. I feel like it was missing his sort of bravado and that sort of oorah marine military vibe from a human perspective. I think the juxtaposition of humans up against the Na'vi was missing a bit here in this movie, and I think that's fine because of where the story's going. So I'll get to that in a minute. And then my other negative, it was a little too long. The movie was too long. It was like 3 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. And we had like 12 trailers before the movie started. So you're sitting in there for like 3.5 hours at least, 3 hours, 40 minutes, whatever. And I know some people don't sit through the trailers. I like to get there and relax, get my icy and that sort of thing. But anyway, I will say this. The movie was too long. There was a part in the middle that probably could have been cut, that really felt like, if you've ever been on like a field trip or something like that, or you've gone to like one of those aquariums that have an IMAX and they do those sort of like ocean nature movies. And every time, at least when I went in high school, I would start dozing off at those things because it's dark. You're just sitting in this like comfy chair and you're seeing beluga whales swimming on a screen to serene music and a calm voice. There was parts of this movie where in the middle it really felt like that, and I felt my eyes getting heavy, and I didn't want to be embarrassed and having to be woken up by my friend. So I started pinching my side a bit to like get back at it. But that's really my only gripe. Now onto the good stuff. Yeah, the visuals are on another tier, well beyond the first Avatar. Just the aspect of everything that they did to how they filmed this with the actors in the water and how they created the water scenes, all the creatures they developed. Really, everything was just crystal clear and perfect. It didn't feel as cartoony as it probably should. Cameron did a great job, and he's the best at this stuff. I mean, we could say, Star Wars and George Lucas and that sort of thing, but Cameron is in his own lane, certainly inspired by George Lucas, and of course, ILM has helped him make all of his great movies over the years, but his vision and his demand for perfection and execution is the proof's in the pudding. You put that guy in the chair and you're going to get a great product because he expects and demands nothing less. So visually, unbelievable. The score in this movie, much better than the first. I have to say, I really enjoyed this score a lot better. I thought it packed a bigger punch. I thought it was way more emotional. I thought it helped tell the narrative of the story a lot better than the first movie, which I felt some of the pieces in the first movie felt like I was on the Soarin' ride at Disney. There were some cheesy elements to it. This one I felt like was much better. Now on to the most important part for me. As you know, if you had listened to me on the podcast and stuff like that, I'm all about characters and the relationships between those characters first and foremost over plot. I don't think these Avatar movies worry as much about that plot. If you think about James Cameron in his movies, like they're always these big spectacles and you're sitting there just experiencing a movie as opposed to just watching a movie with him. He is very simplistic in his storytelling. He's very tropey. He borrows a lot of things that have worked over time. He uses things that are very relatable, and he writes pretty direct and to-the-point dialogue. And I think the combination of using things like themes and tropes of storytelling that are relatable to people, combined with easy-to-digest dialogue, is a perfect cocktail for people to enjoy something. And then you add on the visual element of it, and that's why this guy's so successful. It's a three-headed monster, and he uses the spectacle to sort of cover up for how simplistic his story is and how simplistic his dialogue is. But it works. It is relatable because I have 2 kids now, and this movie's all about that family and these kids, and it hit me a lot harder than I thought it would. I thought he did a great job this time around putting these characters together, making me care about them, making me worried about them. That's a huge thing for me. Some of the names I'll admit, I had a hard time remembering some of the kids' actual names, the Na'vi names, but that doesn't matter. Another great thing. That's another great thing he did. I know I'm bouncing around, but look, it's a review, and here we go. But like the Na'vi, he did a great job of making sure we knew which character was which. Like they had very unique, specific things about them to tell them apart, especially the 2 brothers. I thought that was very important. And then what they did with Sigourney Weaver playing her own daughter via a Na'vi from her avatar, which I thought was great. And it looks like she's sort of like the chosen one. We have there's some Star Wars stuff in here. There was no father. She was conceived by Awa. So she's like the daughter of Awa, so to speak. So that's why she has such a strong connection to the planet and to that spirit of Awa. And then from a Darth Vader perspective, Miles Quaritch has this son who's a human. And at the very end, it's like right on the nose, Empire Strikes Back, where he's reaching out his hand saying like, "Son, come with me." And the kid goes, "Bah!" And he jumps into the water and swims back to the Sully clan, which I don't like that the kid saved him, but I get it. But I think now we're setting ourselves up for, and my friend Keith told me this, and I agree with him. They're setting us up for Quaritch. I know you're going to groan, and I am too a little bit. Quaritch to be redeemed, because now he is sort of a Na'vi, and he's showing more compassion than he ever did in the first movie. He cares about his son. He was willing to not make the kill in order to save his son. So there may be other bads coming their way that Miles Quaritch, Colonel Quaritch, in his new Avatar version, will have to join the Sullys and become part of defending Pandora. So it's big. There's a lot going on here, and I don't want to go through the whole plot for you, but coming from a person who didn't like Avatar didn't age well for me in terms of like my interest in it. I never really rewatched it until recently just to watch the new one. And I went into this not expecting much, like I said, but it delivers on all counts. And if you really think about like what I was saying about the simplistic nature of the storytelling, it works. You know, it's very easy to tell a story without feeling like you need to get Christopher Nolan with it and that you need to like twist people up. Cameron takes a simple approach from a storytelling perspective. He knows what resonates with people. He knows how to connect with people, and he knows what will make people connect with characters. A lot of that is about bonds and family. Like look at T2, Terminator 2. He made us fall in love with a relationship and that bond between John Connor and a machine. And at the end of Terminator, we were all pretty sad. You know, this movie has that stuff in it. I don't know that I personally don't feel like the first Avatar went there that far for me. There were a couple moments in this movie I was getting choked up without question. There's also some Lion King vibes, all about sort of like how Jake Sully's now like the Mufasa of the family, and he's passing on what he learned to his kids. Like you can see Cameron borrowing from things that have worked in the past, and that's cool because I didn't watch this thinking I'm watching Dances with Wolves like a lot of people have critiqued the first Avatar for. This felt like he took it further, a lot more unique, and just everything was elevated. But he kept that same simplistic storytelling, those simple themes, those simple tropes, those simple narrative techniques that work. And I really enjoyed it. So you're coming from a guy who was going in, not expecting it to do well, maybe wondering if it was not going to do well at the box office. I've been one of those people saying like, I can't, maybe they waited too long to make this sequel. I was wrong. I really enjoyed this movie. So take it from me, someone who wasn't going in saying like, I'm going to get my mind blown and I know it. I wasn't expecting that. And I thought it was a much better movie than the first one. And now I am looking forward to what's ahead. Parts 3, 4, 5, I think. And I believe some of that's already being filmed. So bring it on, James Cameron. You can't doubt the guy because he always hits. So that's my review of Avatar: The Way of Water. And I also have like a little acronym, like from a visual perspective, Way of Water, WOW. Wow, no question about it. So let me know what you think. I can keep going here, but I want to hear from you in the comments, and maybe we can continue that conversation in the comments because I didn't want to make this too long a review, but I felt it important to do this review because I didn't see a lot of reviews from people who were not expecting to like it and then liking it way more than they thought they were going to. I've been seeing reviews of people who were going in as a fan and loved it, or people who were not expecting to like it and slammed it. So maybe this is a unique perspective, and I want to know if there's other people out there who feel the same way. So let me know in the comments what you think. Also, hit me up on Twitter if you'd like, at Johnny Hoey. And you'll see me back talking Star Wars on the Resistance broadcast. We're back live on Thursday, January 5th. So I hope everyone is having a great start to their new year. Not sure when this is coming out, but have a wonderful, happy new year, everybody. Be safe. And as always, whether you're watching here on the channel, which please do subscribe, or on the podcast, we got you on our Star Wars podcast, the Resistance broadcast, twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, or the other videos and stuff we're doing, or patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's keep the chat going. I hope you enjoy this review. I hope you like that we're talking about some other stuff once in a while. But most importantly, be well. And until next time, I'll see you around, kids.